Hello, guys. Good to be with you, and thank you for tuning in. I'll start taking you back in time. It was Lisbon around January of 2021, in the middle of COVID. I know. I'm lucky enough. I'm not Portuguese, so I was just traveling there and having a lot of fun exploring the different restaurants and kind of like the amazing vibe of people in Portugal. And at the time, I was working with my current co-founder at Sales Captain at one of his businesses, a creative agency. And we were actually doing quite well with regards to lead generation via cold email. He had his team who were based in Asia. We wanted to generate attention from the US market, US, UK market, but a few different regions that he didn't really have market awareness, branding, or any kind of presence, which caused a lot of different challenges. So we found cold email, and it worked actually really well for us. Like, this is a screenshot from one of the responses that we received. We've been running those campaigns ever since, from Vivian Westwood, which was just proof of how well it was working. And it was at a cafe. I remember exactly the time and place. I remember what it looked like, and he said, "Why don't we do what we do for other companies?" At that time, I had already been head of growth at a growth marketing agency, so I had already seen the agency world. And that's how, in the middle of COVID, without ever having met him in person, we started Sales Captain. It went really well, working with companies from the US market, the UK market again, booking calls with enterprises, proving that cold email works, using the same recipes to recruit speakers and build a lineup at AdWorld, and a lot of amazing things. And we actually went so well, it went so well for us, that within 2 years, we built a team of 30 plus data analysts, which, some might say it's amazing, but it came with its own set of issues. So what was the role of the data analyst for us? So it was collecting company data, visiting the website and verifying company info, segmenting prospects using custom instructions. Let's say we want to do marketing agencies that only do programmatic advertising, or do more advertising related solutions and more creative, and then manually enriching using prospect data, verifying missing emails. Like, we went to the extreme of, like, if we couldn't find verifiable business emails, the team would put together all possible combinations of a business email. We would put it on a Google Sheet, manually blast emails, and whatever address ended up not sending us back, this address doesn't exist, we knew that it was the right email. So it went well, but it also had a lot of different challenges. And I know that we're not alone in that. So I hear you saying, okay, like, what's your problem? Your agency was growing, you were doing well, you were getting results for clients, so what's the issue? And my issue actually was the entire lead generation model, or at least the old version of the lead generation model, aligned with the version of a sales team that has to have a big BDR department. BDRs doing manual campaigns and manual outreach, which is hard to scale, is really costly because you have to pay every individual team member that you have and that you employ, and bonuses, etc. Spam issues making automated outbound harder to work. It takes a lot of time to test new campaigns because you have to do it the manual way. You have to research the prospect, go to the website, verify the details, and you rely in general too much on manual work. And that's a big shame. I mean, if you're a big company, that's amazing. Like, if you have Microsoft's budget to build sales teams, no issue with that. But what about smaller companies where cold email has so many amazing use cases, from obviously being a revenue channel as we used it, to being used for fundraising, helping companies achieve product market fit, and understand what kind of messaging resonates for their target audience, as well as for market feedback and a lot of things like that. So we said, okay, what can we do with it, and what can we do about it? And this is not in the slides, but we identified that early on, the hype about AI, which is the topic of the presentation, was all about how can we write the perfect cold email flow, the perfect sequence, the perfect email using AI. And everyone was trying to put together these custom ChatGPT prompts, or using a few different tools to try and craft perfect cold email sequences. And we know through experience that that doesn't really work. Like, AI will probably work for that, and will probably be able to automate the entire sequence. but we're not there yet. So the areas that we identified are the most beneficial to be using AI and can literally allow you to speed up a lot of your processes. In our case, it allowed us to literally be able to replace 30 team members that were doing manual lead generation for us with 3 revenue growth experts. And one of the tools I'm going to be sharing with you is the kind of transformation that we're discussing. So we identified that there's a few different areas. The first one, obviously, with list building is segmentation and understanding of who your prospects are. So bringing in multiple data sources and then analyzing them and building scoring models for the different prospects that you have. So you can have a list of agencies. If, let's say, you want to target marketing agencies, but not every marketing agency out there has the same criteria, is the same kind of business. So you can have pretty much everything using AI, scoring models to personalizing some intro lines or some content for your outreach to a little bit more advanced things. So, and this is exactly what I want to share with you today. What is AI list building and how can we make it a scalable process? Not necessarily replacing BDRs, but giving them a tool that allows one BDR to do the work of 10 BDRs, as it was in our case. Our secret sauce for email AI personalization, and finally 5 bonus templates using Clay that allow you to automate list building. So we've built and experimented over time with many different scenarios. We've handpicked a few that are really interesting and can work across different sectors. I will put them together, and this is what I want to share with you. Kind of a little bit of my background, not that I really mind it or care about it, but yeah, CEO of Sales Captain, former head of AdWorld. I've grown quite a few B2B tech businesses, tech and service businesses, wrote the book Cold Email Secrets, putting together kind of like the foundation for what cold email is. I've interviewed a few interesting people in the field of marketing, business, and entrepreneurship, and built the lineup for AdWorld using some of the Clay and email automation tips that you'll see. There's a lot of resources and a lot of templates. You can access them, even before the presentation is over. You can scan the QR code or visit the link. From free Clay credits to all the templates that you're going to see. We're trying to literally just share everything away. And obviously, the best thing you can do is get connected on LinkedIn, stay in touch on LinkedIn, because we post a lot of content. So what changed and what is actually new with this entire process? And I'll try to make it as conversational as possible at this point. So the first one is one out of many different tools that allow us to take care of multiple parts of the lead generation and list building process in general. Because as I said, there's many things you can do with AI, from cold calling to AI email replies. We're not there yet. But what AI is really good at is allowing you to build lists, enrich them with data, writing custom emails with AI. And why we love Clay for list building, you can think of Clay literally like a Google Sheet. That's literally what we were using as well, where you can embed multiple data sources. So if you're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can get data from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. If you're using Apollo, you can get data from there. If you're manually scraping data from any place on the internet, including, let's say, LinkedIn, you can do that. If you want to bring in data from Story Leads or Built With and target specific companies based on the technologies they use, you can do all these things. And the bonus is you can actually combine multiple sources. So you can say, bring me a list of Built With companies, enrich them with, let's say, funding data from Crunchbase, add intent signals using a different platform, and then write custom emails for every one of the prospects on that list. So these are some of my favorite use cases, along with the fact that it enables waterfall prospect enrichment, which is another amazing hack that allows you to literally 3x the amount of valid email addresses you get. Waterfall prospect enrichment is pretty much the process of, instead of using one tool to verify and find email addresses, you use multiple tools in a row for every prospect. And when one tool works, you say, okay, I found the email that works, it's verified, it's valid. I don't need to test it out with multiple emails, and you don't have to do all of this manually. And obviously segmentation and message personalization. So Clay templates and starting to get deep. I'll try and share my screen as well at the same time and walk you through kind of like how it works and some of the different parts of the flows, so that it becomes as hands-on and interesting as possible. The first workflow that we put together, and I think it's something that most in the audience can resonate with is targeting local businesses. The kind of like some of the issues or the elements of targeting local businesses, and I've outlined everything here, is let's start from use cases. So could be physical therapists in New York, fine wine stores in London. I think this is the template that we're going to be seeing. Car dealerships in Germany, accountants in Greater London in a specific radius, bars in Mykonos if you want to sell solutions to the travel industry or the hotel industry. So a few of the implications of a workflow like that, if you're trying to reach out to local businesses, the first one is company name. A lot of times, especially if you're getting your data from Google Maps, let's say you go on Google Maps and you download a list of local businesses in Germany, you'll have things like limited and other extensions in the company name, which you don't want. So that's kind of like the first element. Second one is normalizing the location. So you can select between street, neighborhood, normalizing the website, and then finding the different technologies that they might be using. Let me show you what it looks like so you can get a better idea, and then I'll discuss a little bit more about some of the different workflows. All right, so here we are within Clay. As I said and promised, it literally looks like a Google Sheet. The first part is always the first column. The first column is where you get the business data from. And in our case, we're targeting local businesses. We're using the Google Maps data source. So you can go here, and we've built quite a few different examples. So the example here is literally physical therapists in New York. If I click edit, you can actually select anything you like. And you can even select a different region. You can use it geofencing. So if you want to have not necessarily a specific city, but a region or a custom area, you can also do that. And it gives you a list of the businesses. So that's the first part. The second one is normalizing the company name, which Clay allows you to automate and pretty much do almost for free. That's amazing. Along with the business name, obviously you get the business address, but the business address looks a little bit like this. It's not exactly what we have in mind. So you can also have normalizing the location here. And again, this kind of work, if you wanted to use that kind of data, would have taken someone physically and manually doing that labor by themselves. So we normalize the address even further. That's the output. We get the phone number because it's Google Maps, so you get the data. We also scraped the number of reviews from Google, because what we wanted to do in this particular case is we wanted to target businesses that have more than 10,000 orders a month. So we made an assumption that if a local business has more than 1,000 reviews, and every single person that buys from a business has a 10% chance of leaving a review, meaning that someone who has 1,000 reviews or above has received at least 10,000 orders. So we did kind of like a lead scoring system like that. We got the reviews, got the ratings, we got the website, obviously, and the website name. And then we said, okay, why don't we find different technologies that the businesses are using, and see if there's any e-commerce components so that they're already selling online. So we use Built With, and you can literally select either different technologies, specific technologies, and filter by that, or just get the full list of technology that they use. We had the number of total technologies here. We also went deeper and analyzed the website traffic they received, again, because we wanted to build a formula to identify, is this a small business, is it a big business? And then the interesting thing about local businesses as well, and this is when it becomes both challenging as well as fun, is it's easy to get the generic email address, which is fine if the business is really small, but in many cases, that's not the email address you want. Because if it works to an automated system, the kind of response you get is like a ticket, we received your email, we'll reach out soon. So what we did is we used Clayagent, which is one of the features that Clay has. It's an AI agent, so an AI chatbot, if you will, that can follow specific orders. So in our case, what we said is visit the website of the company, and we have the company name, the website name. When you visit the company, I want to know who the owner of the company is. The way I usually do this is by searching for an About Us page or a Meet the Team page. So we actually built that kind of prompt here. Somewhere that the owner's name would be listed. Once you find the owner's name, just output the name. And only output names that you're more than 95% confident that they are the actual owners. Keep in mind that three species task is very important. This is like sometimes you have to, what we say, bully AI. So you say, you might say, I might get fired if you don't get this right. You don't have to do that, but we saw that it actually increased the accuracy of the data we received. So that way, for some of the businesses, you have the company name, the company owner's name, and then you also have their email address. Okay. What happens if that's not the case for every business? Well, that's where we also use tools like Apollo, which are embedded natively, and we can find not just the company name and the owner, but we can also find the LinkedIn profile. Obviously, because it's Apollo, we can get revenue data, company description, and additional email addresses. So what you see here is the entire table. We haven't enriched all 300 or however many businesses it is here, but for the businesses that we did find the addresses. You can see here we were using different tools to be able to identify that. Again, solving for the different issues that have to do with local region. And that's the thing about it, as we'll still keep seeing different examples. With Clay, you can literally build custom workflows for literally every single use case that you have. So we had LinkedIn company enrichment. What if you wanted to get a specific industry? And then you could also find employees from LinkedIn, right? So if the company is big enough and you can find them on LinkedIn, you can also use Clay as a second step, besides just finding the business owner, to also find details about the other employees in the company. The second one, which is obviously a use case that we've really exploited, is lead gen for agencies. Assuming you're a marketing agency, web development agency, doesn't really matter what kind. You can definitely research and build prospect lists for yourselves. Again, could be an SEO agency, ad agency, e-com agencies, creative agencies. It really has worked for all types of different businesses. The workflow, let me just share my screen again and we can go back on Clay. We really went deep, and with this example, we actually had OpenAI, which integrates with Clay, also create a personalized line that we use. So that's one of the different kind of elements that we have here. But in terms of the workflow, it was a really straightforward one. We used LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So we literally targeted companies that are hiring for specific roles, because we are an agency. So if someone's hiring for a role, a really good use case is, that they might be willing to hire an agency instead of hiring a full-time employee. So we used that list, enriched it with job titles, normalized the job title that they're hiring for using AI and ChatGPT, then enriched the company, found the different people, and then wrote an email which actually included the title of the role that they were hiring for. Let me show you what that looks like. So there it is. We imported the jobs. We actually did that. It's a really straightforward LinkedIn Sales Navigator search. That's how you start building your table. It gives you the list of companies, the titles they're hiring for, the title clean, because we didn't really want to use Business Development Manager UK within the email itself. Here's what it looks like. Hiring for cleaned. I'll give you a job title that needs to be cleaned, and this is literally an OpenAI prompt. So it's not necessarily that Clay is doing something crazy. We could have had a Google Sheet integrate with OpenAI using GPT for Sheets and do all of that work within that interface, but we can do it within Clay. And actually, one of the secrets here is if you have an OpenAI API key, which you probably have if you're doing things like that and activities like that, you can actually integrate with Clay, and that way you're not paying Clay for that kind of work. You're just using your OpenAI credits, and it can happen with no charge within Clay. So we gave a few different examples. We gave a few different kind of like additional instructions, and we kept tweaking until we actually had a good output. And as you can see here, from many different types of inputs, hiring for and different titles, we get, really the results just cleaned and nice and neat. We then enriched the company because we wanted to get, company description, whatever it is in each case, from LinkedIn, the company name, obviously normalized companies' names, website, industry, employee count. And these would all be filters, right? Like we might only be helping businesses that are hiring for business development, but in specific niches. Or if someone's hiring a business development manager and they're a lead generation agency, they're probably a competitor of ours, so we don't want to reach out. We then filtered the company type. Again, you can do company type filtering B2B versus B2C. This prompt is actually pre-made within Clay, so we just enabled it. And you can literally add new fields by clicking add enrichment, and then you can have any type of data you want. Maybe you want to check GitHub or find the industry, use Instagram job openings, like everything you want, even finding their logo, site traffic data, everything is within here. Then we did something else that's interesting. We went into the not the website, but we used the LinkedIn data about what the company does, and we had ChatGPT give us kind of like the main offering, distill the main offering in a few different words, and the target customer that they have, because we wanted to use that kind of data within the email that we created. And then we also found 3 prospects. So that way, when we reach out, we can have a really custom email that says, hey, if you're targeting companies like A, B, and C, and you're offering these kinds of solutions, instead of hiring, let's say, a BDR manager, you can instead do A, B, and C. Or, hey, here's how we help companies like A, B, and C, and you can list out some of their competitors. Or if you want to outrank some of the competitors, and again, we've built this sheet here to be really custom and have all different kinds of things, including the technology that they use, including website traffic. And there's a lot of different things you could have done here. Let me show you how kind of it flows back into a real life use case and a template that we put together for a few different cases. So here, what you can do is, let's say you're doing lead gen for an SEO agency, subject line conversions drop. Hi, first name, I noticed that your Google page speed score has dropped to score out of 100. So from the table I showed you, it's really easy to just find someone's Google page speed score for the website, which tells you from Google's kind of rendering machine what's their score and how optimized they are out of 100. Have you seen any drop in conversions lately? We work specifically with companies that do A, B, and C to optimize their digital presence and help them stop losing up to 3x leads. So imagine if you reach out to someone who's, let's say, a carpenter, and you say, we work specifically with carpenters to optimize their digital presence and da-da-da-da. So by including these like small tweaks there, it makes the outreach so much more personal, and obviously increases your chances at having a positive response. Mind if I share a framework we used? PS, this will also help you rank higher on Google than competitor. And how do we know that? We know that because we've used Clayagent to give us a list of their competitors based on what their company does and their LinkedIn details. Another template here for digital advertising for media buying agencies. I noticed you're targeting target customer. And again, this is a field that we found from Clay, and we already have that. We found it from their website description. Have you explored programmatic media buying for your company? I'm asking because we helped a different company reduce their customer acquisition cost by 40%. Mind if I share a framework we used to make this happen? So this is exactly how you can do it. Same lead generation if you're a B2B software business. We did a few different tweaks here. And again, the industry doesn't really matter. It could work for a fintech business, construction software, AI tools, enterprise software, recruitment, HR platforms, university ambassador platforms, literally any kind. For this case, we found companies using specific tools. Let's say it could be your competitor. If a company is using a tool that you can identify and it's your competitor, you can actually find the company using Built With. Again, enrich the company with LinkedIn, normalize the company name, identify the industry a bit better, segmented the companies into B2B and B2C. You might only want one versus the other. Segmenting the companies using different criteria, departments that they have. An interesting hack here is maybe you only want to target companies that have, let's say, 10 plus developers. How would you do that? In the old BDR model, you'd have to have the BDRs manually fetch, the list of the company's employees and actually go through and do the research manually. With ChatGPT, you can now, and Clay, you can literally just fetch the data from LinkedIn, enrich the company, and then just ask the prompt. Let me show you really quickly what the table looks like, because we're slowly starting to run out of time. This is it here, B2B software. Normalize the company. Again, website from Built With, enriching the company, normalizing the company, finding the industry. The interesting thing here is the kind of industry that we can get using ChatGPT and Clayagent is a lot more targeted than using the industry identification. So as you can see here, The data we got from LinkedIn was like e-learning providers and media production, and then the specific industry that Clayagent allowed us to find by going to the website was education. Or instead of telecommunications, we found SMS marketing. Instead of software development, it was enterprise software. Instead of medical and or industrial engineering, it was manufacturing. Software development, text to speech. So the difference in how granular the information can become and how targeted is just vastly different. You can get employee count, and then you can find employee headcount by criteria. So in here, you can say how many HR people they have. Do they have fewer than 10 people? Do they even have any people? So in our case, we wanted to check for a specific role. I don't really remember what we run the example. Yeah, we said managers and VPs, but it can really be any job title keyword. And some companies had many, VPs and managers. Some had none. Again, company type, main offering, target customers. This is how you find all these details. And let's go back to start slowly wrapping up.
Yeah, I'm just jumping on to give you, sorry, Patrick, give you the few wrap up. If there's one last thing you'd like to share.
Sure. You can do the exact same thing with a lot of different types of data, targeting LinkedIn events, targeting LinkedIn influencers, people who post about specific content. An interesting one we found is connecting our B2B with Clay to target website visitors. And yeah, literally that's pretty much it. Lead generation has become a much different game than it used to be. All the template work, the Clay workflows, the templates, email templates, and a few different bonuses, we have it on the link. I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for your time, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bill. Thanks for joining us today.